Hey, it is starting. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me. Okay, there we go. For some reason, I can't see my. There we go. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Lindsey Byun, and my mentors are Stuart Krieger and Professor William Wohleb, which I had the honor of working with both of them. And my presentation is on a production and screenplay called Oscura. So Oscura is an post-apocalyptic action and fantasy genre narrative. The logline is in 2063 after World War III in a world full of ruin-filled deserts, fantastical magic, and vibrant cities. A 21-year-old homebody helps the resistance fight against an old evil organization who are planning citywide destruction to find the truth of his father's death. And the main themes that I really wanted to go over with this particular narrative are family, love, and especially empathy. So in the beginning, let's go over like the lore and also the world building that I came up with for this story. So World War III, how did it start? People in this particular world do not know how it was sparked, but it had something to do with an evil organization called the Diavolos. And how did it end? It ended with nuclear magical missiles hitting Earth, leaving the world in desert and ruin. And around 60% of the population and 70% of vegetation gets wiped out. Um, and 10 years later, cities start popping up on the map. And again, these cities are surrounded by miles of desert and ruin. And one of the first cities that was built is Light City, aka also was known as New York City in the old world. And that is where our main character is and where the main story takes place. So Johnathan Stills is our main character. He is a non-wielder. Basically, he can use magic for necessities to get things and to push things and stuff. And he, not only that, he is also an early mechanical engineer graduate who happens to be a homebody and unemployed. And one day he goes out grocery shopping, and he gets his wallet stolen as he comes back to his apartment. And in an attempt to get his wallet back, he discovers that his perpetrator is actually a young teenager who happens to be in possession of an illegally magically infused weapon, um, which can be very dangerous, hence why it is illegal. And by doing so and still attempting to get his wallet back, he gets knocked out, he gets hurt, he passes out, but ultimately he wakes up in a hospital room and meets two other of our main characters, Elizabeth Bard and Neil Grant, who happens to be part of a city government issue organization called Lux. And from here, he finds out that his father, Henry, was actually a US general working on a certain project called Project Diamond, aka Project D. And not only does he find this very unfortunate, but also surprising, he also finds out that a new evil is lurking in the shadows of Light City, which is connected to the legally magic infused weapon. And the main achievement that Project Diamond was going for was to achieve mass healing during the war, um, to heal people at a mass radius and also the land itself. Um, so to go over Johnson's journey really quick, he furthers his father's research, trying to continue his legacy. He meets our main antagonist, Celio, the leader of the Crows, which is the evil organization in the city that is lurking in the shadows. And over time, as Jonathan goes over and studies his father's work, he starts he starts growing a certain power in him, even though he is a non-wielder. And amidst the investigating the illegally magic-infused weapons case, he discovers he was actually a part of Project D, someone who is able to use mass healing. And once Celio finds out that Johnathan is a product of Project D, he goes after Johnathan. But ultimately, Johnathan also finds out about Celio's past and wants to show him empathy to see if he can stop his rage in destroying the city. And the emotional journey that he goes through is that he in the beginning he wants to have a peaceful life without worry, and this comes from his father's death that left a scar in him. And over time, in order to want to find the truth about his father's death and save the city, he needs to realize that he does have a purpose in this world, which to uh, continue his father's legacy, but also to go and get over the fact that his father did pass away, and ultimately he finds he actually is finding himself in an environment where he can share familial bonds with people to reconnect them. He realizes the values of friendship and how important it is to understand one another in order to make those certain bonds. Uh, okay. So really quickly, even though this wasn't a research project, I still found some certain things during the writing process. I found that each main character that I've written represents a certain part of me, and you can see different personalities in the characters, and you especially see that in the video that I'll share later. And during the writing process and writing all these characters, I also found out that um, during that process, I was able to discover who I am as a person, as a filmmaker. And during the production process, I was actually an executive producer. And not only that, I was able to work a little bit with Professor William Wohleb. And I also directed it and went over certain methods that I found really compelling during my directing work, which is the Chekhov method. But mostly I focused on the Stanislavski method, which is basically focusing on emotional memory and just asking questions, personal questions with the actors, of course, with consent. And I was able to connect with them that way. I was also able to connect with the main characters as well through that. And it was a very emotional journey for all of us, especially the crew that I was able to work with. Now I'll show you what I worked on really quickly.
How is she? Is she all right?
She'll be fine. Dr. Reese was able to hear most of her injuries anyway. However, she still needs to wear head bandages and a brace. You're supposed to be a non-wielder.
I am.
You use elemental combat magic.
What are you implying?
I saw you use my sword. We need to talk about this.
I didn't do it. I need to make more infusions. Get out.
John, you hurt regular civilians. You hurt Elizabeth. Celia could have taken her.
It wasn't me. I didn't know. I blacked out, all right? It wasn't me.
Fine. Sorry. You may not have known what was happening to you in that moment, but did you know what was happening to you all this time? You gotta be kidding me. John, you have to stop holding this shit in. How are Elizabeth and I supposed to help you? All you do is climb in like this, let alone handle Celio.
How am I supposed to let you win when all you do is erupt, Neil?
Don't you dare bring that up. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
You want to talk about me? Let's talk about me. My father left me and my mom to work on a project for a war he wouldn't come back from. And I didn't know. I didn't know what he was doing.
I understand.
I didn't know his legacy would live on with me. I didn't know my parents hid things from me. I didn't know he created Lux.
Please.
I didn't know my family knew you and Elizabeth. I didn't know I was capable.
Johnathan.
I didn't know I'm a welder, Neil. Now you know. And know what exactly?
Are you telling me that Mr. and Mrs. Stills neglected to tell you anything? You know what my father did to me? He left your family, my family.
Watch your temper.
Join the Diabolos. Mom and I loved him so much. We loved him just as much as you did to your own dad. But he left anyways. But I didn't sulk or let the depression get the better of me. Focus on my duty as a guard and as a son.
Elizabeth, come quick. It's Neil.
Trained my ass off for you, knowing one day I'd have to protect you. You're here moping around because you made a mistake? Because your parents hid things from you?
You're going too far.
I know the boss would still be alive if you weren't so careless.
You asshole!
Stop! Neil! Let him go!
I have a question. Sean, I care about you, man. But you need to get your shit together. I don't have the patience to deal with an unstable brat like you.
Johnny, are you okay? That idiot! Did he take his pills?
I need to check for bruises. Please stand up, Mr. Stills.
What is up with Neil?
I'm not sure. Maybe he just didn't take the pills that I prescribed to him this morning.
Okay, that's it. There is credits, but because we're low on time, I can't really show it. But I want to thank you so much for listening to my presentation and also about Oscura, which was a passion project for me. And I was able to work with amazing people and bringing them together, and I was able to share a lot of familial and also friendships, those kind of bonds with these people, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay, for sharing.
Yes.
We have about a minute for Q&A, and we can also, there'll be time at the end as well. But does anybody have any questions for Lindsay? And you, Lindsay, you can stop recording now if you'd like.
I think I stopped recording.